decline. Now, if you're in Zimbabwe, it's never been worse. If you're in
Well,
the
that's due
Sudan,
to
it's never been
people would
worse.
say that's due to a bloodthirsty megalomaniac. It's got nothing to do with an indictment on capitalism.
See, look what we do. We put the blinkers on. We don't look at the fact that something like 30,000 people die every day from starvation and disease. We'd ignore that.
Yeah, but some people would argue that the problem is they live in a country where capitalism doesn't reign supreme. You've got some kind of Marxist junta or dictator that's stuffing it up.
I think this is very interesting because Australia is now the classic case of meltdown.
Yes.
Where they have this supreme capitalist model and it's destroying the country. They are now suffering from abrupt climate change. This is
they're having water problems.
No, this is not a drought. This is not a water problem. This is an ongoing situation which is going to destroy their rural economy.
But the economy's red hot because they're on the back of the mining boom.
Yes, and
the average Aussie is considerably better off than us, Kevin, because of capitalism and growth and the fact that they have that productivity.
Well, sure, but then, if you've got no food or water,
yes,
how much use is opal or gold or
uranium? So to be fair with you, when I'm playing devil's advocate,
sure,
this whole scenario of greed is good and growth is not sustainable, and eventually there's going to be an almighty collapse.
Look, Brian, the really bad news is that there are about 5 billion too many people on this planet. This planet can actually sustainably support around 1 billion.
Yes.
And the reason that we have around 6.5 billion people alive now is because of cheap oil. Once the oil's gone, and in fact it's happening right now.
So you won't be advocating compulsory vasectomies or anything, will you? Because you're already saying that we've got 4 billion too many people.
5 billion too many people, Brian.
But we can't go around killing people.
They're dying anyway.
But what are we going to do about
it? Well, we
do
go around killing people. Look, I won't go into the Iraq war, but that was a war to control the oil supply, and we've gone there. Look, who knows how many Iraqis we've killed?
Yes.
50,000? Yeah. Some people say 500,000 children were killed during that period of sanctions. Yeah. Look, we do go around killing people. This is just, we just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to invite you back on the panel because I'd love you to have an ongoing discussion. So this is just an introduction, and we can't do justice to it. But you're highlighting some of the issues, and people are going to... the interview will come to an end. They'll be frustrated for more. But what can we do to address these issues, the crisis you're talking about? What can we do? 3 minutes to go.
There is only one solution to this, long-term sustainability, and that is local food production, basically permaculture. Power down, as Richard Heinberg calls it.
Okay.
And we're not talking about reducing our power consumption by 10% here. We're talking about reducing our energy consumption by 90%.
Wow. And
that's what's required.
How do we do that? Solar power? Grow our own vegetables?
Some people would say we're going back to the Stone Age. Now, if you were to, if you were to read one or two of the more gloomy authors on this topic, they say we're headed for the Stone Age and it's not possible to stop it. I'm being a little bit optimistic and saying, well, let's give permaculture and power down a try. Certainly, if we continue the way we are, we will make the planet uninhabitable for the next generation.
Yeah. So everyone does their own thing individually and in the family unit in their workplace to practice permaculture. And if everyone does that and you have the domino effect, it's going to make a big difference. And then you've got the issue of lobbying the government and getting infrastructure changes.
But the whole problem is, Brian, there's no money to be made out of saving the environment. You make money by destroying the environment.
Right.
That's how you get rich.
Yeah.
You go out there and you chop down the tree. You don't say, we need this tree as part of our life support. We say, this is money.
Yeah, I know that there are communes and there are individuals and there are groups that are practicing this, and it's just wonderful. But at a macro country level, is there any kind of country that's practicing permaculture?
Well, Cuba is the very, very interesting case.
Well, that's really going to win your votes, talking about Cuba, isn't it?
Well, of course.
Kevin, Fidel Castro's Cuba.
Well, but there again, you see, this is the mind control of the media. The Western media have persecuted Cuba.
Right.
But in fact, you look at the Cuban Health Service, they've got one of the best in the world.
Yes.
Cuba is actually lending out doctors and nurses to other countries because the ratio of doctors and nurses is higher than anywhere else.
So seriously, Cuba has been practicing some of these principles.
Well, look, this goes back to the collapse of the US...
collective permaculture.
It went back to the collapse of the USSR. Yes. Cuba was getting all of its oil from the USSR subsidised.
Yes.
And in a matter of 3 years, this supply virtually dried up.
Yep. And
their people were virtually starving. The American blockade had them absolutely terrified. And they said, we've got to get onto this fast. And this is the interesting thing, of course. When you have a dictatorship, they say, do it. Get out in the field and start digging. Whether democracy is able to tackle this problem, I don't know. But the opposite is North Korea.
Yes.
Now, that absolutely went down the gurgler.
Yeah.
So
fascinating.
Cuba is the model case of what to do.
Well, Kevin, on that note, you have stimulated and you have provoked the thinking of our viewers, and we're going to have you back. We've got a panel program called Vickery Resumings, and I want you I want to invite you on the panel. Give us an update, and we'll have you as a semi-regular to keep us brief.
Yes, I know.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Sorry our time's up.
Yes,
Kevin D. Moore.
Great.
Hey?
Thank you.
One of the more provocative interviews. You've been watching Taranaki Talk. I'm Brian Vickery. Thanks for watching. Looking forward to seeing you again. On the panel.